Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, how would you love to change the way you think and then change your entire life? Move things forward, have better relationships, things are better at work. You just feel more fulfilled and life is just so much better. It can be done. Not that hard if you have the right person. And she's here today. She's an amazing life coach. Sheri Atcheson joins us. Hey, Sheri, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
Doing great. Doing fantastic. Great to have you here. I love a lot of the programs that you offer and how you help people out. And a lot of times, this is what I'm hearing. A lot of people are dealing with lately issues of anxiety and also self-esteem, having confidence to really move their life forward. I mean, change is not easy. I got that. But if you feel better about yourself, maybe you can make some changes. Do you hear that too in some of the clients that you deal with?
Absolutely. That's one of the major things that I work with people on. And that's really the core of a lot of their issues is low self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. And so if you can learn to correct, I can't stop. I'm sorry. If you can learn to correct that and your mindset, then it's amazing the changes that you can make in your life for the better, and you will be so much happier.
Why do you think, Sheri, that so many people do lack self-esteem, don't feel good about themselves, and lack that confidence?
Well, I really believe that a lot of it stems from not getting the proper acknowledgement when we're children growing up. Our parents become busy and, almost self-absorbed with trying to make a living, trying to make ends meet, and, just doing what they can to pacify their children. And what ends up happening is that they, in my opinion, parents forget to acknowledge a lot of times, the accomplishments and the individuality that children have. And therefore, the children grow up having this false sense of identity. And when you have a false sense of identity, that means that you a lot of times are living to please other people. You don't have proper healthy boundaries set for yourself. And you just feel this emptiness. And this is where low self-esteem is born. And your self-confidence is lacking because you haven't been taught or even acknowledged that you're great just the way you are. And so a lot of times people take on these fake identities. It's like, well, this is what I was told I was like. This is how people see me according to what I was told. So I have to live up to this image versus really trying to honor what we like, what we love to do, what is special about us. And that's what we really need to embrace to have good self-esteem and a healthy self-confidence. So I think it creates a lot of problems sometimes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have a 14-year-old daughter who lives with me, and her accepting compliments not too long ago was difficult. Like I'd say, your hair looks great. And she, no, it doesn't. I love what, I love the, top you have on. No, it's not good. And I had to start reframing it. So the aha moment for me, and I'll just share this because we're talking, about where this all begins. I flipped it around and said, what's it like to have the best hair in the world? And she said, well, I like it. It came out really good today. I was like, okay. Moving.
That's amazing.
Moving.
Good on you.
Yeah, I just kind of made that up. And I even said something similar last night. She was doing something and I kind of reframed it in a different way. But unless you start early with those compliments and that reassurance that your child is great and doing a great job, it's going to be a challenge. And guess what? We all don't do it because we didn't know we were supposed to do it and do it in that way. And just to your point, Sheri, that as parents, what do? We and our parents did the same exact thing. We forget about that stuff, but we make sure that you have, let's say, an Xbox or your phone is great and you have great service, internet or whatever, because you feel guilty. So you want to make sure that that's going to make you happy. So I want to give you that, but paying that little compliment in the right way can make a big difference too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the main thing is embracing and honing in on what your child's identity is all about and what is special about them. And I'm not gonna, dog on the parents, because I really believe that parents really do try to do the best that they can with what they've got at hand. But that's why, I created my mindset coaching business, is because to help a lot of adults now that, are going into adulthood or they've already been in adulthood. And there's so many people out there. I think I read a statistic just the other day where it's almost 90% of people have an issue with self-esteem or self-confidence. I mean, it's huge, but it's never too late to change your mindset and get the proper tools put in place so that you can start from today forward, because life is precious, time is precious, and there's no time like right now to make a change. And even if you are a parent and you want to make sure that you install this confidence in your children, it's never too late to learn how to do that.
Yeah, 100%. And just to go back on one thing you just said, parents do the best they can with what they have. But what we have is what we were taught as kids. So all we are doing is just repeating what we were taught as kids. So if your parents didn't bring out those certain unique qualities in you, or whatever it might be, you're probably not going to do that with your kids. And it's not your fault. It is, it's a generational thing. It just continues.
Yeah, it really is. And what comes to mind too is something that really concerns me, though, is what's happening to our school age children. And bullying is a huge problem, and how to deal with bullies, or why do children feel the need to bully anyway? And bullies have really low self-esteem and low self-confidence, for sure. And the only way to make themselves feel good and superior is to make sure that they step down on top of another person. And so they really were raised without any kind of healthy boundaries and good opinions about themselves. And unfortunately, this is just a cycle that keeps going on. And then when you have the victim of if you're the victim from bullying as well, this is detrimental to you, especially when you're a child.
Yep.
And you care so much about peer pressure and what your peers say about you, and you take it to heart, and then your self-esteem and your self-image just plummets. So it's really important that adults become aware of this and learn the proper tools so that we can try to help our children to tackle these issues that they may encounter and feel good enough about themselves and confident enough about themselves that they can ward off bullying and not really let that be the dagger that tries to take them down.
It's so important. And as someone who got bullied, as did, two of my three kids, it has such a profound impact on your life. And as a kid, if you're a bully, you don't realize it. You're just picking on another kid. You think it's not that big of a deal. But as parents, just what you said, how to deal with it, how to talk to your child, whether they're the bully or the one that's being bullied.
Yeah, definitely. And I just reposted an article on my personal Facebook page that I shared, because I've got like 5,000 followers on my Facebook page. So I wanted to get the word out. But this family posted this story of their son who was 12, and he hung himself in his bedroom because he was a victim of bullying. And when a child is beaten down that low where they feel that there's no alternative, we've got to do better. We have to do better as adults. We have to do better as kids, treat each other nicer and stuff. I mean, this really broke my heart. And, where can we make this change? So I'm going to do all that I can to help as many people as possible to change their mindset and teach them the tools to, first of all, install those good boundaries of self-esteem and self-confidence in themselves, because they have to walk the walk in order to teach their children. So it's just so important that I get this accomplished as good as I can.
No, and thank you, and we love you for doing that, because um, it's so important, and it's even more important to make sure you're plugged into your kids and what they're thinking and what they're going through, and even just a quick comment. Again, dealt with it with my son 2 years ago in bullying, and I don't have to go into detail, but it got elevated pretty high, and he's fine now. But it was it was pretty impactful. Um, what does somebody do to raise their self-esteem and their confidence? Any suggestions on that? I know it's a whole long process. It's not an overnight thing. Anything that comes to mind for you? The first step, second step?
Yeah, first of all is you need to learn to have healthy boundaries. And you have to, well, first step is you have to love yourself. And that's easier said than done, because if you get no acknowledgement that you're fine just the way you are, where are you going to drum up that belief from? Because you don't know what it feels like. But you really have to learn the tools so that you can learn to love yourself. And you made such a fabulous example by doing a reverse psychology with asking questions of your daughter. And that is asking the right questions. So as parents, if you're listening, ask those right questions. Like, what do you like about yourself? And what is your best quality? And so on and so forth. And have the child come up with the answer, instead of you saying, well, this is your best quality and this is your best feature. Have the child identify themselves, what they really love about themselves, because it's healthy for that child to hear their own voice say, I like my hair, or I love art. I love how I draw my pictures, or whatever it may be. So self-love is completely a must. And then to learn to set boundaries so that people don't walk on you. And this is where parents really are crucial in this step. And that is that they don't also stomp all over their child's boundaries. If a child is, just is going to appease to everybody and be the yes man to everybody because they don't like conflict, because they're afraid to get in trouble, then they're always going to be a doormat, and they have no healthy self boundaries. But if a parent and a child can sit down and talk with each other, like, what's the best way to discuss a problem with you, so that we have that child open up and feel secure and safe. And this way we establish healthy boundaries in our children, and we as adults need to respect that. And then it's amazing how they can grow from that. The other thing is don't compare yourself to other people. You are unique, you are one of a kind, and there is no other shining star like you. And so it is your right, your birthright, to go out there and shine as bright as you can. So it's detrimental to try to ever compare yourself to another shining star out there, because there's only one you. And it's like a snowflake, no two snowflakes are the same. Well, no two people are the same. And so embrace who you are as an individual, and don't compare yourself to someone else, because then you try to say really hurtful things like, I'll never measure up to them, or I'm never going to be as good as them. And all this does is pound your self-image down into the ground. Whereas do the opposite. Say, you know what? I like how I talk, or I like how I look, or I like how I affect people or interact with people, or I like my hobbies, and give self-praise to what you do, and own your individuality so that you can embrace that. And this will help your self-esteem, self-confidence, your boundaries, everything.
Yeah. It's challenging though, if you've had that past as a child. Let's say you were bullied, number one. Number two, you got to feel it's okay you deserve to like yourself and love yourself. I think a lot of us feel that I don't deserve it, or I'm not good enough, but yet you are. Maybe the answer too is write down those qualities. Here's your mission, everybody, today. You got to write down at least 5 reasons why you're unique and why you're special. And You have to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just really quick, that's what I do with all my clients is that's one of the very first things we work on is self-love and self-respect. And that's exactly what I have them do is one thing I have them do is make a list of people they truly admire. And then what do they admire about those people? And then make a list of what you admire about yourself and why do you admire these qualities about yourself. And then from that, you'll notice that there's real similar qualities people that you look up to and people that you admire. And then when you take a look at yourself and you see a similarity, that's what you want to latch onto. It's not that you're comparing yourself to other people, but you're looking for a similarity. Things that you admire are things that really ignite that fire inside of you to be more of exactly who you are. And it's really a healthy thing. And I have them make a list of all their positive qualities and post it right by the bathroom mirror because everybody has to go to the bathroom every single day, and this is their little list that they should have the freedom to post and the safety to post so that it's honored by the rest of the family. And then this way you can read the list and remind yourself every day all these beautiful positive qualities that you truly embrace, feel, and love about yourself.
We're talking with life coach Sheri Atcheson, and you can find her at paramountmindset.com. Sheri, do you think that a lot of us are afraid to confront ourselves, and that's why we don't practice that self-care and that self-love? We're afraid. We're afraid of ourselves.
Absolutely. I think the problem is that we don't feel we deserve it. And we don't feel that we're enough already, that we don't matter. And, that's one thing that actually all my emails, that's how I sign off is you matter the most because we feel we don't matter. And when we feel we don't matter, we feel that we're not important. When we feel that we're not important, then we don't know how to take effort, or nor do we bother to take effort to even try to make ourselves feel important. So, or a lot of times we don't even know how to start because this is a comfort zone. We're comfortable feeling that we don't matter. We're not happy, but we know how to live this way and we know how to survive this way. And we don't know what the steps are to break us out of that comfort zone and try something new to where we could feel better. So that's why it's just important that I do what I do.
And I'm going to steal that idea because
Yes.
I've worked in radio since I was 17, and I end every broadcast with "Be kind to each other." That's it. Just be nice. Be kind to each other. I'm going to put that on my email signature. So thank you for that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
So in a few, we're going to talk about, because college is back in session very soon, what you offer to help students get back to school. Before we get there, I want to talk about your story, real brief, and particularly something I read, maybe it was on your website somewhere, about your conversation with God. And it just stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, whoa, okay. Can you share it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have quite a unique story, but I don't remember my mother ever holding me and telling me that she loved me. My grandmother did, and so my grandmother was kind of a role model to me. But my real dad, had left when I was young, and it was me and my little brother who was 2 years younger than me. So my mom married this guy. And he was really abusive. And, I remember he lined all us kids up against a wall and he said, "You will call me dad," and stuff like that. And I was so afraid of this guy. I used to barricade my bedroom door at night because I didn't want him coming in. And, but a lot of physical abuse, emotional abuse, a lot of neglect. And my mom was a full-blown alcoholic and a really bad narcissistic kind of person. So I was the oldest kid, and it was just unbearable. And I felt absolutely no love, no acknowledgement of who I was. It was just like, hey, you do the chores, and just super strict rules. And I just felt completely invisible and so unhappy. If we were bad, we were dropped off on the orphanage lawn in the middle of the night and abandoned. And I mean, I could go on and on. Anyway, but when I was 10, I sat on my bed because I was this broken. And I said, God, you're going to have to be my parents from now on. You're going to have to be my mom and dad from now on, because I had no one to turn to.
Wow.
And I knew I did not want to be like them. So I literally started on my own studying psychology and sociology, because I wanted to figure out why these people were like this. And I knew I would not be like them at all. And, and over the years, I just felt like it was I don't know what I was supposed to do to prove that you can break out of, childhood trauma and really be happy, which it's taken me a lot of years, a lot of trial and error. I kept learning and doing whatever. And so that's why I came up with the tools. I use the tools so that I know they work. And so I truly wake up happy every single day. And sometimes that grinds people the wrong way, because I'm in a good mood all the time. I'm genuinely happy. And a lot of people aren't sometimes. So, but it is what it is. I'm not going to apologize for truly being happy. And there's this huge weight off my shoulders, because I'm free to, see people in a loving way. And, and it feels good to trust. It feels really good to trust. That's a really big freedom, and it feels really good to love who you are and love others. So yeah, it was quite a journey.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You walk the walk. If anybody's going to understand what we all go through, it's going to be you, because you went through it. And your story, I had no idea. All I knew was what you asked God for. I didn't know. I didn't see the backstory. I just saw that part. So it's powerful that how we even started talking today about how you're brought up and how you're raised and and you just brought, thoughts in my head. I've not a similar situation, but my dad left when I was very young. Still saw him. He passed when I was 21. I don't think he ever told me he loved me, though. And there was nothing wrong with him. It wasn't like he was abusive. There was no alcohol, nothing like that. I don't remember it. So what am I going to do later today? I'm going to freaking text my daughter and tell her I love her.
Yes, do that for sure.
Yeah.
Because even if it was like your situation with your dad, you still as a child need someone to tell you that they're loved. It's like, as a child, you want to hear that I love you, or you want to hear, you know what, I just want to give you a hug today, just for the hell of it. So, it really does something powerful for a kid. You really, really need that. So you don't have that emptiness. So good on you for doing that.
Well, I try to end every phone call, not everyone, because as many as possible, because I don't want to overdo it. Say, love you. Talk to you later. Bye. So college students, back to school, challenging time, a lot of anxiety. There's a lot on the line in terms of meeting your parents' expectations. Also, it ain't cheap. And your goals. So there's a lot of pressure, anxiety there. What do you offer? How do you help students in college?
So I'm really excited to talk about this, because this just kind of evolved. I'm working with another colleague of mine, and she's out of Vancouver in Canada. And she's a professor of criminology, and her and I both are entrepreneurs doing our own coaching. So we came together, and we're trying to help all college and university students because of the pressures that it takes, just belonging, because, we're human beings. Our brain wants us to belong to a tribe, basically. And so just walking on campus and being new, and a new atmosphere, and how intimidating it is, and some of the emotions that students go through. Not only that, but trying to get along with your professors. What do they want out of you? So she tackles the academic side of helping students. I tackle the emotional side. So together we have the whole package. We don't know of anyone else doing this in either one of the countries, but we're coming together and trying to reach out as to many college and universities as possible to say, hey, we have a complete package to help your students. And if they sign on with her program and they sign on with my program, we're going to give them a student discount because college is expensive as it is. But we really have this need to want to help them academically, when they get frustrated, because she told me 56% of college and university students drop out. They just say goodbye to their dreams because of peer pressure and because of academic pressure.
Wow.
So we're combining our magical little forces to give them the best shot at succeeding in their academic career in college and to learn how to get along socially too and handle all those pressures. So I was just going to say that if they contact me or at least, email me or go to my Facebook page, that's where I post everything, because we're both going to be holding master classes for just this in the upcoming month.
So important. And you know what? Aside from just doing the right thing by way of students, great opportunity for colleges, universities, because the enrollments would go up. They would look better. Students would look better. It's a win all around. And the closest thing I've ever heard to what you're offering is I heard from some hypnotherapists that help college students just because of the anxiety. So, but that's only a piece of it. And just what you said, the last part, the socialization portion of it, so many, I don't want to sound old, but in a younger generation is because you're on electronic devices. So when you're forced to actually talk to somebody face to face, sometimes it's uncomfortable. I don't want to bring back my daughter, but like sometimes she won't even ask a clerk at a store a question about the size of a shirt. Can you ask them? I'm like, just go over and ask them. They're people. It's okay. But if you're not used to doing it, you're not going to feel comfortable with it. So, bravo to you for doing that. I think that's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that social awkwardness. Totally.
Thank you for, that's my favorite word, awkward. But when you put it next to social and awkwardness, we can reach you. Just go to your website, paramountmindset.com. We can find out about everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And that has where you can sign up to even talk to me for 30 minutes. And that's completely free, because I love to hear people's stories and, how I could possibly help them, or maybe someone else can if I can't. And and my Facebook group is Paramount Mindset with Coach Sheri Atcheson, or I think with just Coach Sheri. And anyway, and I really enjoy I would love it if people would follow that, because that's where I post all my upcoming master classes and everything. However, if you get a hold of me through my email address, which is on my website, I'll be happy to make contact with you and also include you in on any kind of information I have coming up.
You said you love hearing people's stories. I loved hearing yours and everything else that you offered, and appreciate you being here today. You're like a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you. I love talking with you. I just, what a great conversation. And you've had some really great insight too. So that, Steve, you matter the most. Yeah. You really do matter.
And I was just going to say, like, you're reading my mind. How do you end your emails again? Because I want to remember that. So thank you for sharing that again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to the website, paramountmindset.com. And Sheri, awesome talking with you. Looking forward to getting together sometime soon.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.